Hey everyone, it's Alex here, otherwise known as YaBonks, and welcome to another episode of the YaBonks Show. Oh, please, you're too kind. Now, before we get into the brass tacks and the nuts and bolts of this project, I have a few quick disclaimers to discuss with you and disclosures before we get started. So first off, this is a paid video. I was paid in stablecoins for my time and effort to research this project and present this information as objectively as possible. All opinions are my own. I received some native tokens to demonstrate how to use their utilities. Any native tokens not used in my tutorial will be airdropped to my community in a separate giveaway video contest. This can all be verified on my public wallet. This is not financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. Please do your own research, as this information may be incorrect or subject to change. Crypto and DeFi are extremely risky. I think of this as gambling at a casino. Do not play with more than you are willing to lose. Anything I say or do in my videos is for entertainment purposes only. Ooh, tough crowd. Okay. All right. Now, let's get into the thick of it. Now, today I am discussing the Aalto Protocol project. And the Aalto Protocol is relatively new. It launched on 4/27, so less than a month ago. And currently, let me pull up the chart. Currently, it's had a run up over the past few days, and because of a few different things. So, well, I don't know exactly why it's been running up, but they are running some promotions this month to incentivize people to participate in the project. Like right now, they have boosted bank rewards in effect through May. So they are dropping fat chunks of rewards periodically throughout May that get distributed to the people staking their tokens in the bank. And also the APY is boosted 3x for 1 week. So there's still more than half the week left where they have triple the APR, which brings the APR for the native token now up to 2.68% daily in their native token. Okay. Now, with all that being said, I want to reiterate that I will be doing an Alto token airdrop here probably either later today. I'm going to start the contest, or in the next few days. So please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, so that way you'll know as soon as I start the airdrop contest for these Alto tokens. And I've got quite a bit. I got some for the tutorial, but they gave me more than I anticipated, way more than I need to show you how to use their utilities. And also, then the value of the Alto tokens ran up big time. So now I have way more value in Alto tokens than I feel comfortable with, since I'm making a paid video about it. And I want to give all of those tokens away to you, the community. So hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you do not miss when I publish my Alto token airdrop video, which is going to be currently over $300. That's right. It's a ton of money, and I'm just going to give it away for free because I think that frees me from conflicts of interest from holding those tokens after making these videos. You're probably aware of all the drama going on in DeFi regarding influencers and conflicts of interest and ethical dilemmas. So my solution is just to, if I ever get native tokens, in addition to, I charge to research and present information in stable coins at my normal hourly rate as a software engineer. However, if they give me any of their native tokens, then I am just going to give them away, because I don't want anybody to think I'm trying to inflate my own bags and then dump them on my viewers at a later point in time. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to airdrop my bags of these native tokens onto you guys, so you guys get all the benefit. you get to enjoy it, and you get rewarded for giving me attention and watching my videos and having fun with me here. So look out for that video. It's coming in the next couple days. So Ching, I hope you guys cash out. So back to the project. Look at this run up. So it started. Here's the full picture. Let's zoom out a bit. Here's the hourly chart. You know, went up, and then, you know, they launched right in this bear market, like this like horrible crypto crash we've been having, but they kind of found some kind of price discovery, and then really just took off the last few days. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, you know, compared to the other tokens that I'm watching in my portfolio. This thing is going up while they're all going down. We'll see how you know, how this pans out in the future. So keep an eye on that. It's a very interesting chart right now. All right, next, they just got the coin market cap listing today, just a couple hours ago. So you should now, hopefully soon, see other things that come off the back of this. Like, hopefully we'll see the logo showing up on bscscan and in like MetaMask wallet, and have like the value here show up correctly in bscscan now, and your like dbank profile. So anyway, CoinMarketCap listing, that's pretty cool. Now, if you go into bscscan for the token itself, you can see they just crossed 1,000 holders, and the current supply is 867,000 tokens approximately. And yeah, it's all right here, and I'll even show you the code for the smart contract. This is the smart contract for the Aalto Protocol. And you come down to the code here, and you can see altotoken.sol. You know, it's a Solidity file. And I will be going over and making some tutorials of how to read and understand Solidity files and smart contracts, how to make them, how to publish them, how to test them, things like that, whenever I get some time, because I'm a software engineer, and this is the stuff that I like doing, and this is what I do for a living. So just some things to point out in the code. It's using a lot of the standards you're all familiar with, and this is a modified flow of what started with Titano and was expanded upon by Seifu and Libero. Okay, so you'll see like the gone fragments, gone fragments, and all that stuff to determine the rebases and the epochs and all that stuff, and then to determine like the buy and sell and transfer fees, and basically all the stuff that is relevant for interacting in this protocol. All right, there you go. So the code's all there. It's all open source. Go check it out. You can interact with it with the read and write functions right here, and that's basically it. Now, they have been, the smart contract was audited by TechRate, and here's their audit report. You can find the link to this in the Aalto Protocol white paper. And this audit happened before it was deployed, so keep that in mind. Also, their technical issues checking, in terms of checking the code for, you know, syntax errors or potentially exploitable things in that regard. Basically everything passed. There was some low issue with denial of service with block gas limits, but it's like not something you'd probably ever run into. Super low priority issue, like low severity, and you can read that right here. And it's pretty much not anything that would really that should really concern you, in my opinion. So low severity issues in terms of like the code syntax. Everything else passed with flying colors, so that's very cool. Now, one thing I do want to point out is they have not renounced ownership of the smart contract. So they have some pretty lenient owner privileges, like a lot of these other protocols do, where they can do things on the fly. If you are concerned with like the trustability of the developers, these are the kind of things you want to keep in mind as you play in these games and participate in these projects. So like the owner can change the staking address, the owner can basically do a whole bunch of random things like change the fees at any point in time, change the fee receivers' addresses, things like that some people might say are ruggable vectors and all that. But keep in mind, a lot of these other protocols have the same kind of issues where there's a lot of centralized control over the protocol by the developers, and there are good and bad things about that. So good thing is it allows them to be nimble and agile as they launch their protocol, so they can adapt to the market environment and conditions and do what they have to kind of keep this thing afloat and benefit it as much as possible. That's assuming that they are acting in the best interests of all of the participants and all that, and they're not straight scammers or anything. So the opposite side of that coin is if they are shady devs or anything, these are rug pull vectors and things that people could, developers have used things like this in the past. Now, I have met the lead developer of this project. I've video chatted with him for a few hours now, going through the mechanics of this protocol and stuff, and he seems like a nice guy. So take that for what it is. Also, they are KYC'd by Assure DeFi. All three members of the core team are KYC'd at the highest tier. So these are tier 1 KYCs. And so they verified the treasury, the contract, and the liquidity. The main the lead software developer is named Briz, and he has access to the treasury, liquidity, and contract, and he has been tier 1 verified by Assure. And the Fox, he has access to the treasury. He's a community manager. Now, by saying access to the treasury, they're on a multi-sig wallet, so it requires multi-signature, I think 3 out of 5 signatures to make those transactions. And right now, I believe it is just the 3 of them on that multi-sig, and they are going to be incorporating other members, like staple members of the community, into there as well as potential third parties to add more accountability and decentralization of control over the protocol. So, and then Alto Jules, he is kind of the main guy behind this project and who I've been chatting with over video. And yeah, so they're fully KYC'd from Assure and are easy to reach out to on the Discord and Telegram. Now, if you didn't know, tier 1 is strong law enforcement with resources and capabilities to effectively legislate and pursue crypto-related cybercrime. So basically, if these guys rug pulled or did anything like that, Assure would publish their personal information and pass it along to strong law enforcement agencies with the capabilities to legislate and pursue them in terms of cybercrimes. So, little educational information there about how KYCs work. So that's good. Now, this is a step higher than a lot of projects that I've looked at in the past. Not all projects go through any kind of KYC project, so this is a good sign. And a lot of projects have the same owner privileges that you see here, so keep that in mind too. All right, so full transparency and objectivity with all that information I just laid out in front of you. Now, with all that, let's talk about their website. So they say it's the most advanced auto staking and auto compounding protocol, and they say these rebases happen at 2.3% APR daily, and that is in the native token, not in US dollars, not in US dollar return or anything like that. Always keep that in mind. These are in the native tokens, and their partners, like I said, they were audited by TechRate, KYC'd by Assure, and nice website. It's clean, looks good, talks about some of the features, which I'll be going through here very shortly, and brought to you by the Ames.DeFi team. If you don't know what Ames.DeFi is, it's actually the project that this team developed before this one that is still going strong, and it is a tomb fork, and I will show you a little bit of that later on. So here's the dashboard for the app. I'll refresh it for you so you can get some current values. Now, as you see here, I have 25 some Alto tokens in my wallet worth over $300. I'm airdropping all of those to you guys in the community. Keep an eye out for my following vids. Hit subscribe and the notification bell so it tells you as soon as I publish the airdrop contest video, so you can enter the contest immediately and have a chance of getting this $300 in Alto tokens. All right, so it shows you like your daily ROI in Alto tokens, as well as what that would mean currently in dollar value. Shows what I have in the bank right now. I tested out staking one Alto token in their bank, like at $10 or so, and I'll show you the bank next. The APY is boosted 3x for 1 week, like I said earlier. So they're running that promotion so you can get extra rebases right now. And the price is over $12. The market cap currently sits at 6,290,000. There's over 1,000 holders. The total amount locked in the bank right now, that's their staking platform that they made, is almost $1.5 million worth, or 121,000 Alto tokens. Now, the circulating supply, the total supply, and the total burned supply are interesting, to say the least. So the total current supply is 867,000 Alto tokens, and 345,000 of those Alto tokens have been burned in the Mariana Trench. And the Mariana Trench is like their, clever name for the burn wallet, or like, Seifu's got the fire pit. They call it the Mariana Trench, and theirs is a true burn address. They're not sending it to some like wallet that the devs own that could potentially be another ruggable vector. They're actually sending it to a null address, the dead address specifically. And it's interesting, the rebases do happen in the dead address wallet, and you can go into bscscan and see these tokens there. And so this means 40% of all of the total supply so far has been burnt and sent to that dead address, never to arise again onto the market. So the total circulating supply that's actually out and about and able to be transacted with, to sell and buy, is only 522,000 Alto tokens. So it's very interesting to see how this will end up playing out over time. They have a slightly modified rebasing emissions strategy. So some have a fixed rebase value, like a fixed APY, like Titano, for instance. Some have variable. Over time, the APY might change. Like at Seifu, the first year it's very high, and then the second year it's lower. The third year it's even lower. The fourth year it's lower. The eighth year it's like down to like 1,000% APY from there on out. Now, Aalto Protocol is an extremely high APY. Don't get me wrong. It's it's off the charts, ridiculous APY, like most of these projects. 402,252% APY in their native token, so it's highly inflationary. However, based on the tokenomics, and I'll go over this again later when I go through the tokenomics, and I spoke with Jules about this, the product, the project owner who I've been video chatting with and going through all this information with, and based on the max supply that can ever be, that they cannot mint above that certain value, at that rate of 402,000 some APY, 8% APY, the rebase emissions will stop in 1 year and 25 days, approximately, as of today, which is May 17th, 2022. So the max supply is 5.5 billion tokens, and the total supply right now is 867,000 tokens. And at this rate, that max supply will be hit in a year and 25 days, I believe. And that is what Jules told me as well. So that's interesting. Should this project make it that long, then at some point those rebase emissions stop completely, and you all of a sudden have a deflationary protocol after a long period of highly inflationary activity. But then the inflation stops, but the burns from the buy and sell fee taxes in the Mariana Trench keep going. So all of a sudden that total supply, as trading continues on, assuming it does, will slowly dwindle down as more and more of the total supply end up here in the Mariana Trench burn dead address, and making the tokens become more rare and potentially store of value of some sort at that point in time. It'll be very interesting to see how this experimental economic model plays out. I like that at some point their emissions will stop and potentially become deflationary. So that'll be interesting to look out for. I hope you understood everything I said. Go verify this information and come back to me if I got any of it wrong. Leave your opinion in the comment section. Let me know. All right, let's continue on. So here's the bank. This is the Aalto Protocol bank, and here's where right now most of the magic is happening. So, like I said, almost $1.5 million worth of Alto tokens are locked in the bank as TVL. And all you do, I'm going to make a short tutorial video showing how to do this. So I won't do it right now. I won't stake anything right now. I already have some staked in the 7-day lock period. So you have the amount, and then you have lock periods, 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 180 days, and 365 days. And the rewards are higher the longer you stake them for. And it's actually right now paying out in triple rewards. So the rewards are in BUSD, BNB, and Ames tokens. Ames tokens coming from that tomb fork that they also created, that is still running, and this is one of their integrations with it to create kind of an ecosystem between these two protocols, which is interesting because it's an integration of like what is essentially a modified titanofork that will be integrated into an ecosystem with a tomb fork. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I love this stuff. I love these experiments and everything, and people trying new things just to see what happens. I think it is cool. Personal opinion. All right, so I put one Alto token into the bank. You can see it right here, and it gives you the start time when I deposited it, and here's the end time when I can unstake my Alto tokens. Now, small note, if you deposit anything else into this time period, like for instance, if I put more tokens into the 7-day lock period, this start date and time completely resets. So I'd have to wait 7 days from the last time I staked something in here. So keep that in mind. Now, they have recently upgraded the functionality, so you can actually move I could move my stake to a higher lockup period. I don't believe you can move to a lower lockup period, but I do believe you can move one of your stakes to a higher lockup period. Let's just see what happens. Yeah, so I could move stake to one of these, and then it would start in one of these other ones. Now, if you look, the APR is higher in the longer lockup periods, and I'll actually show you the mathematics of how that's determined later on. It's in their white paper, but like I'm getting 5% APR, and if you hover over this little tooltip icon, it says based on last 3 days of rewards. So for the last 3 days, it says paid out about 5% in claimable rewards, and right now those claimable rewards are BUSD, BNB, and Ames tokens. The 14 days, 9% something, the 30 days, 16%, 60 days, 51%, 90 days, 37%, 180 days, 63%, 365 days, 49%. You might be wondering why is the APR higher in some than the others. It's because it's based on the dilution effect in these staking pools. Like any other staking pool, you've got how much is the total amount staked, and all of the rewards that get distributed into that staking pool get distributed evenly to all of the people staked in either one of these pools. So if everybody jumps into one of these pools versus the other, that pool that everybody went into gets more diluted than the others, and the rewards from that pool have to get divided among a larger amount of people. Okay. Now, with that being said, the reward pool that is distributed for each of these lockup periods is larger for like the 365-day one compared to like the 180-day one. So you're going to have to use like a multi-variable strategy when you're considering the best way to play these. You're going to have to look, okay, the APR based on the dilution, based on how many people are staked in here with me, is the combination of that APR with the size of the rewards that come to this staking pool, is that combination more than the APR of, say, the 180-day staking pool with this higher APR because it's less diluted, but the size of the rewards that get dumped into the staking pool will be smaller than that of this one. So you'll have to play around and be nimble and figure out what makes most sense and what your risk tolerance is for locking up your capital for this long. This is DeFi. Anything could happen in that time. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you lock something up, it might be essentially gone forever, or if this really takes off, it could be huge. You never know. So you have to make your own risk reward assessments, and like I said, no, don't ever invest anything. I shouldn't even use the word invest because I'm in the United States and you really can't say the word invest about these projects. You shouldn't stake more than you're willing to lose. So be careful out there with this kind of stuff, with any kind of staking pool in these altcoins, in these DeFi projects. These are essentially, to me, games. So I try to look at the different variables and how I can play these games most effectively to get my return on investment back, plus some additional, and I shouldn't use the word return on investment, I should say return on my, I don't know, on my cash. So yeah, anyway, this is their main utility right now, is this bank, and they're going to be building this out more. Now, I forgot to mention, one of the most important parts about their bank is that the Alto tokens that you stake will be rebasing the entire time they're staked in the yield farm. And this is a newer thing that only a very few amount of rebasing projects have pulled off so far. So they've pulled it off in a unique way that I haven't seen before, using their receipt token called Alto. And I'll show you the receipt token I received from staking my one Alto token in here. And here it is. So when I staked, here's my wallet address. When I staked one token in here, then I got minted this Alto token. Now, this number is ridiculous looking, but they're doing this in a very interesting and creative way. So basically, I really received one Alto token, but I believe that what I'm seeing here is kind of like a unique identifier that is like a one-to-one receipt for my stake, my staking event. So when I staked that one token in the 7-day pool, I got a receipt that has this unique value that they can then take later into the smart contract when I come back and I exchange my Alto token receipt for the Alto token that I staked in the staking pool. Their smart contract's going to say, okay, this Alto token has this unique identifier value, and it's going to look and be like, oh, okay, this belongs to YaBonks' wallet for the 7-day staking pool, where he has staked that one Alto token. Here it is. Here's that Alto token. So it's an interesting staking mechanism that they've created here, and it allows for the Alto tokens to be rebasing the entire time in the smart contract. So you end up with more Alto tokens at the end of this because they'll be rebasing while they're staked. So keep that in mind. Now, I also looked up in the Alto smart contract for my wallet here, and it shows I have one Alto token, and it shows that transaction of mine with that crazy quantity value. So you can kind of see how this works yourself if you end up trying this out. All right, now here's Ames DeFi that I was telling you about. If you remember, the bank pays out right now, not just in BUSD, but now in BNB and Ames. So it's like a triple reward system, and they might even pay out additional tokens and stuff later on too. They've talked about this in their AMAs and announcements. But the Ames token goes here. If you go to ames-defi.app, you can see that this ecosystem, this Tokenomics, has 1.2 mil value, TVL, value locked. Here's the Ames token, and one AIM is pegged to approximately 1 BUSD, and then they've got, like, it's a Tokenomics, and I'm not going to get into that now, but they're basically trying to create some kind of integration between the Aalto protocol and their Ames protocol, and it's going to be interesting to see how these two protocols bolster each other and create some kind of synergy. So we'll go over that later. I might actually do a video just doing a deep dive researching the ins and outs of the Ames.DeFi protocol. I haven't done a full deep dive on it yet. I only have a surface level understanding of what it is. But if it's anything as complicated as the Aalto protocol is, it'll take a while to research to really understand the different things going on and what they're trying to do. So keep a lookout for that if you're interested in Tokenomics style projects, or if you're in Aalto protocol. If I end up doing an Ames protocol video, it'll be useful information because these protocols are going to be intertwined with each other going forward into the future. Okay. And let's see, what do I have next on my list of things I want to tell you guys about? So the Ames partnership, and all right, now let's get into some of the white paper and like the tokenomics that I briefly talked about earlier. First off, the trading fees. You always got to know the trading fees when you get into these projects, so you know how much you're going to lose out on when you sell. So it has a 13% buy fee and 3% of that goes to the Rising Tide Auto Liquidity System. 4% goes to the Coral Preservation Fund, which is their insurance fund. And then 1% goes to Deep Blue Bank Reflections. Basically, these get reflected back as bank rewards in those staking pools that I was showing you. So 1% of all buy and sell volume goes back to reward the bank participants in those staking pools. 3% goes to the Treasure Trove, which is their treasury fund, and I'll show you how the treasury fund is broke down, how they allocate the portions of the treasury to different things. 40% of their treasury is allocated for marketing campaigns, 30% for protocol investments. Now, those are investments like cross-chain stablecoin yield farming investments, low-risk capital investments, and the profits from those will be fed back into the treasure trove and also to pay dividends to investors who lock up Alto in the bank. 20% goes to the operation costs for, salaries, developer fees, overhead costs, stuff like that. And then 10% of the treasure trove acts as a float, which is an additional insurance policy in case the Coral Preservation Fund, their insurance fund, isn't enough in case of a black swan liquidity event. So they have this 10% float in case they need a little wiggle room to do some stuff. And it'll only be activated in dire circumstances or black swan events, as I said, and that's what they claim. So you can check out the address is right there. And the treasure trove is multi-sig, as I explained when I was talking about the KYC. It requires 3 out of 5 team member consensus from the core team to transact with the treasury, and they'll be looking to add VIPs and community members to the multi-sig later on. Okay. Now, back to the buy fee breakdown. So 2% of those buy fees go to the Mariana Trench, which, as I said earlier, is their burn address, and it's a true burn address. It's a wallet that is technically a null address. You cannot get anything out of that wallet. Things go in and they never come out. All right. And rebases do happen in those wallets too. So tokens sent there do eventually end up rebasing and eating up more of that max supply, unless the protocol itself has blacklisted rebases for that certain address. So that's something interesting to know when you're analyzing other protocols that have a burn wallet or a burn address, okay? Now, the sell fee, so the buy fees total are 13%. You're going to lose 13% off the top when you buy some Alto tokens. It's built into the smart contract. Doesn't matter where you buy them from, you get that 13% hit. The sell fee when you sell, doesn't matter where you sell, it's 17%, and 3% of that goes to the liquidity system. 4% goes to their Coral Preservation Insurance Fund. 1% goes back as reflections to bank stakers. 7% goes to the treasury, the treasure trove as they call it, and 2% gets burnt in the Mariana Trench, where it shall never see the light of day again. And also to note, the transfer fees are 17% as well. So the sell fees and the transfer fees, the sell taxes and the transfer taxes are the same. They're 17%. So if you try to send your Alto tokens from your wallet to someone else's, you're going to get hit with a 17% tax. Now, I know that, that's unpleasant sometimes, but it's really to cut down on whale manipulation. And I think they talk about that somewhere, but yeah, their anti-dump mechanism here. So, this one, anti-whale price manipulation. So as part of the effort to reduce sell pressure and prevent flash dumps, the Aalto protocol has a daily sell limit per wallet of 10,000 Alto tokens per wallet. And it says here the sell fee also applies to transfers between wallets, This is to make it so that bypassing the daily limit by having multiple wallets becomes a suboptimal strategy. And if you have a sell limit of 10,000 tokens, you got a whale with 100,000 tokens, and they want to dump all at once, they're going to have to eat 17% taxes to transfer it to another wallet to then sell and get hit with another 17% sell tax. So pros and cons to that, especially, if you're a whale, you might be like, oh, I don't like that. But if you're a smaller retail participant like myself, you might be like, okay, that might be nice, because if some giant whale was about to dump and wreck this thing, I don't want to, I wouldn't want that to happen. So these protections are in place, and you got to, they weighed the pros and cons of these and decided that a sell limit like this with transfer taxes is more important to the long-term longevity for the participants of the holders. Okay, so let me get some more of that coffee in me. I'm never caffeinated enough. All right, so they have the legend here, talks about like what the different names are for all these things. I just explained them to you though, so we'll carry on. The rising tide auto liquidity system I wanted to talk about specifically too. It's interesting. So like a lot of these other buy and sell tax fee auto rebasing protocols, they take a chunk of the taxes for building up the liquidity automatically in the protocol. So what happens is, they have some kind of timing system. I don't know if it's based on timing or a liquidity amount threshold, where then it injects it into the liquidity pool. But like, if you look, I was just looking over the past few hours, and it seems like every hour or so it did a liquidity injection. Sometimes it was a shorter amount of time, so I'm wondering if like a certain amount of volume has to transact to get a certain amount of tax fees for the auto liquidity system to trigger the injection into the liquidity pool. I'm not sure exactly on that. That's a detail you could probably ask in the Discord and find out. So they have this thing called the Amaranthine Liquidity. I love these names. They're just there's all these projects like with all their like unique names for these different mechanisms just cracks me up. And I love the analogies and the theming that goes on. Like the theming behind this project is just great. Like the deep blue bank and the coral preservation fund and the rising tide auto liquidity and the rising tide. That's a good analogy, right? It's themed well. It's analogous to what's happening with the auto liquidity system. So I find that amusing. All right. So how it works is, it works like any other thing, but this amaranthine liquidity thing that they talk about here is interesting. It says once the liquidity is added, the LP token receipts from PancakeSwap are then burned immediately. So this means that there will always be liquidity in the pool, and liquidity that is added through the rising tide cannot be drained or withdrawn by anyone, and will ensure a nice sea of tokens for Alto investors to swim in. Now, a few things of how to understand this is, it builds up the amount of liquidity pairs in here, like Alto and BNB liquidity pairs. It will build up that like the amount of those pairs. However, that doesn't always mean that the value of those pairs will stay the same because of something called impermanent loss. You should look into that if you're going into any of these projects. Be aware if you're doing like liquidity pair staking. Impermanent loss means like if the value of something goes up or down, it's actually also reflected in the liquidity pairs. So keep that in mind. This isn't a foolproof system for preventing value loss in this protocol. It's just ensuring that you will be able to trade with some liquidity on the market, so that way you're never stuck in a situation where the market's illiquid. It will be liquid, but it should be liquid with something like this over time. however, the value could go up or down of the tokens in those pairs. So it's multiple things to keep in mind. I'm actually working on a software project. I'll get into this later. It's kind of a secret right now, but I'm working with a team of people to kind of go present the unspoken rules of these protocols that you don't see on the surface, but if you really do a deep dive into a lot of these aspects of it, you learn like the spoken rules of these games and the unspoken rules, and you get a full picture of how the best way to strategize and play these games at any point in time are. And I'm going to be you'll see coming out shortly this tool I'm going to release, and it's going to be a game changer for people, and how well they can play these games and win more often than not. Basically, it'll help people turn themselves from an unwitting participant that's just getting smoked left and right and they don't know why. It turns them from like an NPC into a player, into a shark, or eventually a whale. And the sharks and the whales already know this stuff and have systems that help them with this. And I'm building a system to do that, to give you that information too. So keep an eye out for that. I don't want to say much more as just a teaser, but it's going to be really cool and make all these projects a lot more fun to play when you can see the full chessboard. All right. So with that being said, let's go back to the white paper here. Here's the white paper, by the way. And basically I covered most of this stuff. Oh, the tidal wave rebate cycle is important. So the initial liquidity they locked up when they launched this thing is going to be distributed back to the rest of to basically people in the bank, right? So every quarter, they're going to be quarterly distribution bonuses to the people in the Deep Blue Bank as additional reflection rewards, okay? So 4 times throughout this year, there's going to be large reflection rewards dumped into the bank, and the staking participants will receive those rewards, okay? So that's important to know, okay? That 4 times throughout the next year, every 3 months, 25% of their initial locked liquidity gets unlocked and distributed. 40% is actually so each time that happens, 40% is going to be used as a buyback and burn of Alto to decrease the total supply, the total circulating supply more. 40% is going to be distributed to stakers in the Deep Blue Sea. So people staked there are going to get bigger rewards from that. And then 20% is going to be sent to the treasure trove for their operational costs and the other things that I showed you as well, like the float value and stuff. So interesting. The tidal wave rebate cycle, cool concept. Another way to give back some of the capital to the participants. Now, I basically covered the most important parts of the tokenomics. Now I'm going to go over some of the cool things that they are building out in the near future. So they're making a bartering system, okay, that it's similar to a bonding system that will allow users to deposit a variety of non-native tokens in exchange for Alto. And some of them, and there will be limits on how much Alto you can buy using this method, and the Aalto Protocol will adapt to market demands dynamically. Now, the input tokens that will be allowed are Ames/BUSD LP tokens, liquidity pair tokens, A-share/BUSD liquidity pair tokens, and BNB. Now, the Ames and A-share liquidity pair tokens are part of the Ames DeFi tokenomics style protocol that I showed you. This is like their sister protocol project that they're working on, that they're integrating together. If you go to the boardroom here, you can see, or is it the core? Anyway, like I said, I need to do a deep dive on this one. I've gone through it briefly, but like you can basically get these liquidity pairs by staking certain things to get certain things, yada yada yada, and then you can stake those liquidity pairs to get, like, if you staked Ames and BUSD liquidity pair or a share BUSD liquidity pair, you'll earn a share, which then you can stake in the boardroom to get all this other stuff. So basically, without getting too into the weeds, if you use this bartering system they're developing to basically trade these things for Alto tokens, you can take the stuff, some of the things that you're benefiting from in the Ames protocol, bring it over here and exchange them for Alto tokens. Okay, and same with BNB. You can, trade BNB for Alto tokens through this bartering system as well. Jules also told me that they're looking at some other blue chip coins that they want to add into the bartering system, like Bitcoin or Ethereum, stuff like that. Okay, so here it's saying the Ames.DeFi synergy. So the Ames and A share liquidity pair tokens used to purchase Alto in this manner will be fed back to the Ames DeFi treasury as protocol-owned liquidity. This is part of the effort to create a synergistic feedback loop between the two protocols so that they prosper together. All right, so the bartering system sounds pretty cool. I'm interested to see how that pans out, and it's currently on their roadmap in their public launch, so the bartering and bonding system should be coming relatively soon. Like, they just got CoinMarketCap listing. They're probably going to get some of these other things, the redemption program, and then the bartering and bonding system. And then further down the road, they've got some other things coming. I'll get to that in a second. One of the other things they offer is venture capitalists and angel investors to make large investments over the counter in a special way, to not disturb the price too much. If a very large investment group or DAO or something wants to come in and buy a huge portion of this protocol, they have means in here that they've developed to prevent people using that as an exit liquidity event. And also, they're putting in vesting periods for these larger investors. Like, if you're a tier 1 package investor, you'll receive your Alto tokens vested over 3 months at at however many tokens per day, or all of those tokens all at once, staked in the Deep Blue Bank after 1 year. All right, so if you're a big time whale and you're watching this video and you want to get a special deal to take part in the Alto protocol, you might get some additional benefits that smaller investors might not be privy to, and it's to pretty much offset any kind of negative price action or setups that could occur from such giant whale interactions with the protocol. So it's an interesting idea. So they'll get like an NFT, they'll have that vesting period, they'll get some additional dividends, and they'll have access to angel investor only stable pools that have an uncapped deposit amount. They'll get, if they wanted, an angel investor Discord tag and a private Discord chat with the core team and contributors, and then early info release and voting rights on certain strategic moves. And all this, to me, that sounds fair, like that they get these extra bonuses because it's like venture capitalism, right? If you're a big time investor, and you invest a large amount of capital into a business, you get partnership benefits. So this is interesting, and they have some interesting mechanisms for how they do this. Like I was saying, they have a vesting period where they basically stake them in the Deep Blue Bank for 1 year, so they'll get rewards all during that time too, and the rebases but it's a vesting period, so they can't just dump and try to take all the value in the liquidity pool. So interesting idea for how to get venture capitalists and angel investors into the program. They're going to have NFTs coming in for everybody soon. And this is part of the roadmap that I'm going to show you. They're going to have a series of NFTs with multiple rarity tiers, and it'll determine the strength of the bonuses they provide. And they're going to allow you to stake your NFTs. And you can get, if you hold certain NFTs, you might get fee reductions, and you might get access to NFT holder only staking pools and events and competitions and GameFi integration at some point in the future. So interesting ideas they have for the future there with NFTs. And one of the other important parts of this protocol that they're developing are real world assets and on-chain revenue streams to provide profit sharing for the holders in the protocol. So they intend to acquire a mix of low and medium risk real world assets and on-chain investments to provide constant revenue streams for the treasury, which will then be paid out in the form of dividends to deep blue bank stakers and angel investors. All right. So they're going to have a DAO government system. So basically the people participating in this protocol will be able to have a say in how the funds are invested from the treasure trove to generate revenue. And this will continue even after Alto reaches the max supply and the emissions stop. Like I was saying, that's in approximately 1 year and 25 days from now. And that at that point, they're claiming that Alto will transform into a store of value that generates income passively for long-term holders. So very interesting strategy here. And I am interested to see how this pans out. They even talked on some of the AMAs about investing in like real estate in the real world and different things like that. So interesting. They're also looking at like merchandise, crypto cloud mining, validator nodes, cross-chain stable farms, DeFi yield protocols, and incubator and launchpad services. And more ideas coming all the time for that. So that's an interesting long-term strategy for profit sharing, for generating revenue from outside of the system to then be able to share with the participants and owners of the protocol. And yeah, that's pretty cool if you ask me. And that's about it. I'll go over the roadmap real quick. So further down the road, they're going to do another external audit. I don't know who it's going to be with. I don't know if it's going to be Certic or somebody else. They're going to do the yield generating NFT integration I told you about, create some kind of launchpad and incubator program, impermanent loss insurance. That's interesting. I'm going to have to learn more about that. DeFi partnerships, SEO, so search engine optimization for their, websites and stuff and articles. Cross-chain interoperability, a DAO, so, decentralized autonomous organization. So basically all of us holders could be like voting on if they say we want to invest X amount from the treasure troves investment fund into of this validator node or this yield farming platform to generate revenue. We can all say yes or no and vote which one we like the most. And they're even saying they're going to have some kind of GameFi layer and a V2 of the dashboard. So that is it. That is the project in a nutshell. I hope I covered it well. There is a lot going on here. Okay, so it took me forever to research this project because they just are doing so much stuff, right? Like, there's so many moving parts here and so many plans for the future that they've positioned themselves for, in addition to the integration with their sister project, Ames.DeFi, which I didn't even have time to research yet. So if they're interested in me doing a deep dive on that, I'll talk with them so that way you guys can get a good understanding of what Ames.DeFi is and how it's better going to integrate with this going into the future and the effects that they'll have on each other. So it's an interesting ecosystem they've developed here. It is wild, really. Yeah. So that was a lot. That was a lot of work. Really learn the ins and outs of this protocol because there's just so much going on with all the different ways they're doing these things. Yeah, and I didn't give a tutorial for the deep blue bank here, but just to keep this video shorter because it's already going on an hour now, right? This is a long project research review that I've done here because there's a lot of information to cover. But I am going to make a very short tutorial, basically just running you through, this is how you buy the token, this is how you stake the Alto tokens in the deep blue bank, and this is how you move your staking pools around. And I'll just make like a quick tutorial video that you can reference later going forward so you don't have to go rewind and try to find it in this hour-long informational project review video. And also, I'm going to be doing a monster airdrop for this project. Using the funds they gave me for the tutorial, I don't want to keep those native tokens. I mean, obviously I would because I want to, I would love to cash out, but I don't want certain YouTubers claiming that I'm running with the bag after I make a video that could potentially cause the price to appreciate based on, my viewership and the information I'm presenting here. So in order to prevent any conflicts of interest, I'm just going to take those 20, however many tokens I have, like 25 plus Alto tokens I have, however many I have left after making my tutorial video. It's probably still going to be about $300, or at the rate this is going up, it might be worth more. And I'm just gonna airdrop them onto you guys, my viewers, because you're the best. And I'd rather, if anybody would benefit from these tokens, I would want it to be you guys, because you support me, you keep me endlessly entertained with your comments and my interactions with you in my community. So I want you guys to benefit from this as well. Like I already got paid in my hourly rate for doing this research and compiling this information and making this presentation for you. That's all I need. I don't need to get native tokens to get a bag that I then inflate and then turn around and dump on you guys, because that's messed up, right? I don't think that makes sense. Now, obviously, this bag isn't huge. There are certain influencers that would probably have a bag 10 or 100 times this size that could affect the price and affect your performance in the protocol. So just out of principle, at my smaller influence size that I'm at currently, it's growing fast though, I want to get in the habit of handling these conflicts of interest with these native tokens by coming up with a strategy that is consistent. So what I'm going to do is, when I make these project review videos that I love to make, I love reviewing these projects, honestly. I love going through the code and reading everybody's smart contracts and going through all of the mechanics and their plans for the future. And this is just super cool stuff, right? I want to be able to do that. I also want to be able to get compensated for my time and effort to do that, because my time is limited. However, at the same time, I don't want to be conflicted ethically. I don't want to have an ethical dilemma on my hands. I want this to be fun for me. And I want this to be fun for you guys too, because you guys are the best. So I am just going to make it a habit now. Whenever these projects, and they always do this, they always send you tokens, mainly because I tell them, hey, if you want to send me a couple tokens so I can make a tutorial showing how to use your utilities, that's fine, right? And I'm always expecting like $5 worth, like a negligible amount that I would just put into staking pools or whatever feature they have, and be like, that's how you do it, the end, right? And then just forget about that $5, just leave it out there forever. But they send me a decent amount of tokens almost every time, and I'm like, oh man. And then and then something like this happens where the price has tripled, more than tripled since they sent me those tokens. Plus they've been rebasing, and I'm just like, oh man, this bag's growing fast, right? And it would be weird of me, in my opinion. You can debate me. We'll have a debate about this later. But in my opinion, it'd be weird for me to turn around after this thing is pumped and after I publish this video to then go around and like sell this bag that I've gotten in native tokens. So I'd rather you guys have it. So I'm gonna divvy it up in an airdrop video and have a window of time for this contest for you guys to enter into and become eligible to win this airdrop. And then I'm going to do a follow-up airdrop video where I pick the winners, and I'm going to just give it all away. And this, I do everything in one wallet. I have one public wallet. That's it. I don't have secret private wallets or anything like that. You can ask anybody. You can ask these project devs. No, I have everybody send it to my public wallet. Everything I do is public on the ledger. Go check it out and see to make sure that I'm doing what I'm saying I'm going to do. I'm going to give every token away here that I got. Like, obviously, in the tutorial, if I put something in one of these staking pools, like, I can't get it out until this time period ends. So, like, if I put a token in here and I just leave it for 365 days, I don't know what, like, at that point, I'll evaluate what to do in a year, if that's, like, worth a fortune or something in terms of the rebases. Like, if that one token turns into, I don't know, 402 tokens, and those are worth a lot of money at that point, maybe I'll do another airdrop then too. But, like, at this point in time, it's like $10. I'm just going to leave it in here and not touch it, so that way it doesn't affect the price and liquidity or anything like that. But this big-ass bag that I got here, ka-ching, is going to you guys, and it's going to be fun. So subscribe to the YaBonks YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, and follow me on Twitter, link in the description, so you will be the first to know. You'll be notified immediately when I publish that video on YouTube. It'll say Alto token airdrop contest, giveaway contest, something like that. Watch the video. You don't have to do anything to qualify for it other than just leave a comment answering the question that I ask at some point in that video. That's probably how I'm going to do it. I'll ask a secret question. If your answer is correct, then you'll be eligible, and I'll pull all the names out of a hat or something like that on live stream so you guys can see that it's fair, and you guys will get a whole bunch of cash, a whole bunch of Alto tokens. So that's my plan. Get excited for it. Everybody's excited for it. Yeah! Woo! All right! Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bow, 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 bow. Bruh. Anyway, so that's my plan. Thanks for, if you've lasted this long through this video, thanks for watching the whole thing. I hope you learned something from this. I sure did. I learned so much from researching this project. I think these guys are doing some cool experiments here. I have no idea how it's going to turn out, like with any project, so be very careful. Know your risks and everything like that, and don't put in more money than you're willing to lose and all that. And this is not financial advice. You guys know all this. I'm just here to entertain you guys and have some fun researching the mechanics of these projects and looking through the code and then turning around and telling you guys about it. So that's the Aalto Protocol in a nutshell. I'm going to be coming out that tutorial video and the airdrop video probably today or in the next couple days. So subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss them. And I will catch you guys next time. Thanks. Thank you. Tune in next time for the YaBonks Show. Pow, 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 pow. Peace.